For WVU, in this one, a decision over Broderson for Scott Joel, who picks up his 10th win of the season, 44th of his career as we hit to the 184-pound class. How about that for West Virginia? And you talked about, I know, in between reminiscing, you talked about it. That was a 6-point move for Joel in the first period. Sets the whole tone for that match.
No, it definitely does. Big throw, nice inside throw, an inside trip. And Broderson never really recovered from that. You know, Joel rode him out for the rest of the period. Broderson did not pick down in the second period for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why, but there was no score in the second period. And then you had the third period with that one takedown. So nice job by Scott Joel, and that puts West Virginia up going into this latter part. Now, look, this Iowa State is really good up here, right? I mean, these are the areas when we get to 84 and moving up 97 in a heavyweight, they're very, very strong in these weight classes. So
Carman comes in 14-9 on the season, lost by major decision last time out. Marcus Coleman has won 10 straight. He's got, the second, for most teams, 10 straight would be pretty darn good. Of course, he, wrestles on the same squad as David Carr. So
right.
10 in a row for Coleman coming into this one, an NCAA qualifier a year ago and an All-American to boot, third at the Big 12 championships last year, and he's got the early two. A little bit of riding time there.
Well, most definitely, and Carmen's really got his work cut out for him. You see Coleman really just a kind of tight waist and then plays around a little bit with a little bit of a hook and a claw and a spiral ride a little bit, try to pull him backwards. It's a little close to a near fall, but not turned enough for that.
Carman 13-1 this season. We get a whistle. He's had 3 pins, 2 tech falls, and 2 major decisions. So 7 of his 13 wins, better than a decision. And notably, in his career, 20 pins. So, and this is, like you said, kind of the part of the lineup where they can win very quickly.
Well, they can win quickly, which obviously ends the match fast, but they're dominant up here. And Carman now gets himself a nice escape, though.
Marcus Coleman, by the way, a 4-time NCAA qualifier and has a pretty darn good chance of being a 5-time NCAA qualifier, which, as I've noted by our statistician Joe Mitchin, wasn't, of course, possible until COVID happened.
No, there's a lot of these things that didn't be possible until these last couple of years. So it's a whole new era. I wonder if they're going to go like 2020, 21, 22, 23 with like an asterisk for like 4 or 5 years, because I mean it's just a different environment. The last time Iowa State was going to come wrestle here, it got canceled because they had COVID problems on their team. That was 2 years ago.
And of course, some of those are, I would imagine, 5 times. That's probably a record I doubt will ever be broken.
Well, yeah, because you don't have 5 years of eligibility normally, unless the NCAA is going to change that rule and give you like 40 years to graduate or something like that. I'm sure there's a lot of guys who failed out of school that could come back and still wrestle again. They could do it like that.
That's the end of the first period. 2-1, Coleman leads Carman here. What a crowd on hand here in Morgantown. 3rd largest crowd in program history. Out for this one against number 3 Iowa State. West Virginia receiving votes, but not ranked hosting. Mountaineers have had some pretty good bouts of their own. This is obviously pretty tight here with Iowa State. They had a tight one with Oklahoma just a few weeks ago. And the Mountaineers treating this home crowd, this big home crowd, as they are returning home for the first time in a month. And an early escape, just 15 seconds into the second period for Coleman. A native of Ames, by the way.
Oh, nice shot by Carman, but he's got to keep driving, right? You can't just get in on the leg and stay there. Now, one of the things you saw and why David Carr, there's the cradle. Here's a problem. Coleman's in a good position, and Carman's in trouble.
Already awarded 2.
Did he give him 2 back points? I don't know if he counted or not, but that thing's pretty tight.
Coleman's got a real hold of Carman.
And there's going to be a 4-point near fall. I don't know that he's necessarily in danger to pin him right at the second, because he's a little out of phase slightly, but he's trying to get his hip down and slide his hands a little bit in order to do that. But he's going to let it go and just count the 4.
6 points already for Coleman here in this second period. Lets him go, and a 1 point awarded for the escape to Carman. Carman had 2 wins last year over ranked opponents.
And again, a lot of these things are just little things, right? They're just little spaces. Even there, so there's a Carman with the fake at the knee. Coleman doesn't move, which means either he does not respect that shot at all, or he caught him completely flat-footed, but he didn't really go through and commit to it. So, and I was going to say earlier, one of the reasons that Carman got himself in trouble is because he got in on that single leg and he just kind of hung there. When we were watching David Carr, you were asking about why David Carr has so many wins. Is because he doesn't hang there like that, so people don't turn in a corner and cradle him like Coleman does to Carman here. I'm having a tough time with the Coleman-Carman thing. I'm struggling with that a little bit.
Marcus Coleman here, we're in the 184 class right now. Coleman 13-1, 88-38 on his career. And a point there, possibly a big point awarded there for an escape, as with the riding time bonus close to 2 minutes, Coleman has an opportunity here for a major decision.
Well,
right now, he's not there.
Well, he's technically not exactly, but he's up kind of almost by. There's a takedown. See, that was a nice job by Carman. Stopped him on the way in, snapped him a little bit, turned around, spun around the corner, made it easy. I mean, the sport's hard enough, right? I mean, make it easy on yourself.
That's a big 2 points.
It's a huge 2 points, because it does the same thing in this match in the opposite way from the other match, right? It turns what is the potential of a major decision into a regular decision.
4 points the difference. Riding time is coming down, and again, there's no point opportunity for Carman on riding time, but he does have a chance to eliminate the point for Coleman. Needs another 13 seconds of riding time to do it.
So look, if I'm Kevin Dresser, I'm not happy with the way Coleman is finishing out the third period, right? He's just kind of laying down there trying to survive after building a 9-5 lead. Was a 9-3 lead. Now he's going to have a warning for stalling. And there's a pretty good chance he's going to get another one, because that didn't really make him move a whole heck of a lot. Why is he warned for stalling? Okay, Carman's got a leg in, but what he's been basically doing is kind of keeping his elbows underneath, keeping his hands in tight, so he's not really presenting himself. He's not really working to move much of anything.
12 seconds remaining.
Well, and Carman not going to be able to turn him, but a nice finish for Carman, and if you're Kevin Dresser, you can't be too happy with the way Coleman finished out this match.
No, so 9-5 will actually be the final here, so decided by a decision. For Marcus Coleman, will give Iowa State the win and bring this tied at 13 on the team score. This is the Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. More wrestling at the Coliseum when we come back.